a small but nice 3-bedroom house, and I'll show you a picture of it. It's real cute. I think it's cute anyway. Can you see that? Yeah, come on. All right. What do you think it's worth? Okay, hold on.
Where's it at?
Boom. It's in Calhoun, Georgia. I don't know if it really is. Let's say it is though.
Like we're at in Calhoun.
Yeah.
Like if it's in Parks Place, it's probably gonna cost more than if it was.
Okay. Well, you can tell it's not Parks Place because there's not any houses that look like that in Parks Place. But
We're pretending.
yeah, we're pretending. It's in. Let's just say this. It's in the city limits. It's in a reasonably nice part of town. But it's by far the nicest house in the neighborhood. They have fixed this up real nice, and the houses around it are not fixed up as nice and look a little tattered and torn. Not horrible, but they don't look this good. Okay, this is the model home for this neighborhood.
167, 175,
I say 160.
160, 175,
or
Well,
167.
one what?
167.
167.
Just because the houses around it aren't so nice. If the houses around it were nice, I'd say 175.
Okay. You hadn't asked me about the inside yet.
You said it was nice, didn't you?
Yeah.
100.
So let's talk about the inside of it. The inside of it looks, okay, in this imaginary world, the inside of it looks very similar to or it matches the outside. It's got granite countertops. It's got some really nice looking cabinets. It doesn't have any carpet in it. It's got tile in the bathroom. Real nice looking tile in the bathroom. Nice looking tile in the kitchen. It's got all hardwood floors. And it's just nice and cleanly painted. Everything just looks really pristine in it. It's not fancy, but it's really, really cute and nice. Okay. All right, so I hear 167. Was that your final number? What was your number?
160.
160. Give me some more. Emma?
150.
150. Martin? Martin, right? Martin?
Tony.
That's all I remember is Tony. Kevin?
140.
140. Tell me your name again.
Darlene.
Darlene, okay.
Does it have a pool?
No pool.
How big is the yard?
No, that's a good question.
Oh, I
It
know
really
that.
is.
Like, how
somebody
big
else.
is like the yard in the backyard?
The yard is pretty small.
Yeah.
It's pretty
There's
small.
that fence back there
Yeah.
or something.
And you can tell this house over here is pretty close, so we're gonna make the assumption that the house is just right around here. So we don't have much on the side.
Just kidding.
And the streets, we're making some assumptions here. The street's right here, and the backyard is, you can tell it's pretty tiny. Enough for a little grill back there, maybe Nina's blow-up pool back there, and that's about it. All right,
Well, now that the houses are really close, it's gonna be cheaper.
165.
I bet it's gonna be like.
Oh, by the way, there's no right or wrong answer on this, so I'm just going ahead and tell you that. What's your guess?
That's gonna make 153.
153? $120? Okay.
Change mine to 145.
One what?
145. Well, I don't know. Never mind.
Come on, Tony. I'm just kidding.
One. Yeah, that's good. I'll leave it at
You
that.
what?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, so, we got a wide range, right? Now, how do you get the final answer on what this house is worth? Okay, let's look it up. So we can look it up, and then let's say it's listed for throw a number out, it's listed for 160, is that the final price? How much the house is worth? Okay, it's listed for 160, right? So then you want the house. Are you gonna go in and say, hey, this is like Walmart, this notebook's $2.99, so I'm gonna pick this notebook and take it up there and I get $2.99 plus tax, which is what, about $3.20, right, with tax, $3.20, 7% sales tax. Is that how we do on the house? 160?
No,
How do we do?
you put in a lower offer.
We put in a lower offer. In fact, we'll talk about real estate a fair amount in here. In fact, we're gonna just knuckle down on some real estate here for a few days here pretty soon. But I told you about me investing in real estate years ago, didn't I? This is what I learned in the real estate course, and this is what Carlton Sheets said in the course that I bought. He said, if you don't insult them when you first offer, you offered way too much. You should really insult them. That's what he said. Now that was 25 years ago when I read that, but why do I remember that? Because it's true. It works. It made sense, right? He didn't say, offer them the asking price. He said, insult them with your offer. Now, I'm on the receiving end of some of those insults. Does that hurt my feelings? Let's say that I get offered, this is my house and I've got it listed for 160. Well, let me ask you this. Is this applicable to life? Is this stuff applicable to life?
Yeah.
All right, because you're going to want to buy a house, you're probably going to want to sell a house or a property. So this is real life stuff. This is not play. This is not, I've been taught to teach this or told to teach this. This is real economics, okay? So we're not playing now, okay? So 160 is the asking price. What about if I get offered, I had some land that was, let me see what it was. I had it listed for $399, and the guy offered me $200,000 for it.
Boy. He really is.
Hey, he took Carlton Sheets' advice to the nth degree, and so I said no. And this is sent now. He's not talking to me. He's going through real estate agents, and then, the real estate agent sends something back to me, and I said no. And so I said I'm asking $399. I told him, I said I'll come down to $350. Okay, so let's play the same thing on this right here. Okay, so we're asking 160, and the guy offers you 100,000. Are you going, as we say in the country, are we going to jerk his arm out of socket and take it?
No.
No. He insulted us with his offer. So do we go, you insulted me, I shall not take that. And then stomp off into the sunset? No, what do we do?
You tell him what you would
Tell
tell
them your
him.
bottom number.
I don't give him my bottom number.
You give him a little bit lower. So then you.
He insulted me, so I'm going to insult him back with my counter offer. So he makes an offer, I counter offer, and I'll say no, but I'll take 155. And he's like, what? I was trying to get his lowest offer, but that did not work. So then he offers me, he comes back and he says, I'll give you 120. And I say 150. And then he sends back, and sometimes it goes back and forth. I'm going back and forth. It's just really, and each time he's going through a real estate agent, you're going through a real estate agent, and it goes back and forth, and there's little contracts that has to be signed and all that good stuff. But then he sends you back an offer, and he says, my bottom dollar is 130. What do I say?
No.
No. Forget you. And so we don't make a deal. Or, when I counter right here, I don't counter back at 150. I come back and I'll say, okay, and I'll send through my real estate agent, 148 is the lowest I'll come. He can tell me this is the most I'll pay, or I can say this is the lowest I'll take. And then, if he comes back and says, I'll give you 145, might I take that? I might take that. I told him that was my lowest, but he's within $3,000. I might take it, or I might not. I might only have 110,000 in it, so I'm like, I'll take that. I want to get rid of it. Right? Or I might say, I told you 148 is my lowest. That's it. So it just depends, but it's back and forth. So you're playing sort of a little game. What? All right. So let me ask you, how much are they wanting to pay for the house?
As little as possible.
As little as possible. How much do I want to get out of the house? As much as possible, right? So we're playing a game. Do I know the most they'll pay for the house? No. Do they know the lowest I'll take for the house? No. So we're playing a game. And they're here. No, I'm here. They're here. And we're trying to figure out if there's something in here where we can come to an agreement on. If not, what happens?
You don't make a deal.
We don't make a deal. And does that happen?
Yeah.
Quite frequently. It happens. And it's happened to me many times. But then when you make a deal, then, you've got a reciprocal agreement. I agree to sell it for this much, or if I'm on the buying end, I agree to pay for this much. And then you might put stipulations in there, just like on a land deal. They said, we will give you, whatever.
Oh, that's not good.
Whoa! That thing took a nosedive, didn't it?
Do you think somebody actually watched this?
I don't know. I'm supposed to put it on there, so I'm going to put it on there.
Oh, I think they will. I didn't mean it like that.
You hurt my feelings, Nina. All right, so, what were we saying?
You don't make a deal sometimes?
I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That was my fault.
Anyway, this is going to be, and this is how it is with everything. If you have Deprimas and you price your shoes and you price them too high, what are people going to do? They're not going to buy them. They're going to look and they're going to say, I can buy them on Amazon cheaper. I can buy them from some shoe place cheaper. So you got to be competitive. So if you're robbing profit, I guess she's running it now, right? Is she taking over from her mom? So she's having to constantly be looking on the shoe websites and making sure that she's comparable. My wife went there a week or two ago and bought her some flip-flops, some Tevas, and she was really excited. Ooh, got me some Tevas. And I said, well, could you have got them cheaper online? She said, no, they were pretty comparable, which is good, because if they hadn't been comparable, then boom, Deprimas wouldn't have got the business. But we want to buy local. Why do we want to buy local? Keep your economy going. We got taxes coming in on that, right? We want to support our local economy as much as possible. So, anyway, all this links in. We're going to look at microeconomics, macroeconomics, the housing market, Home Depot. All those things are tied together in this big old crazy web that we call the economy.
How much do you think that house is worth? With what you said, the inside of the backyard picture.
Like right now, the housing market, is it doing good or bad?
Probably bad.
You would think so. It is booming, booming. And now Fight Master tells me this. I don't know, because Fight Master sometimes makes up stuff, because he's cray. You know he is. Y'all know. I love him. He's my buddy, so I make fun of him. But Fight Master tells me that people are moving out of the big city and coming to these smaller towns. because of some of this craziness that's going on in the big cities.
Is that more expensive?
Do what?
Is that more expensive in the city?
Yeah, it's more expensive, and so what they're doing is they're driving the house prices up. Now, I don't know if that's really true, but I just know that in my neighborhood, houses that were selling for $130,000, $150,000, $160,000 are now selling for way over $200,000. Way over. It's crazy. And that was just a few years ago that they were in the mid 100s. And we live in the old part of town, I guess, right over the hill from the courthouse, older houses. And our house is just an old 1962 ranch house, those brick lumber houses, and nothing fancy. Our house values have gone up dramatically. But all the houses have. Used to, I could buy a little house for $70,000 all day long as a rental property or something like that. Now you can't hardly find anything for $70,000, $80,000. Almost nothing. So I would guess this house would go the way it looks. Just guessing. I would, if I was just throwing a dart at it, I'd say the final sales price might be as much as $140,000. But that'd be my guess. And the only way to know is to put it on the market and then see what it sells for. You could get an appraiser out there, and the appraiser say, "Oh, that thing appraises at $160,000." You're like, "Yes," and then it might sell for $135,000, and you're like, "You missed the mark." Well, he didn't know. He just took a guess, right, from what's called comps. He's using comps. Real estate agents will put a price on something based on comps. Comp stands for comparable properties. And they'll pull up all this data, and then they'll say, "I think you can get $160,000 for it." And you're like, "I'm not selling my house for $160,000." And they'll say, "Well, that's all you can get. You might not get that much." And you say, "I'll list it for $190,000," and then you sell it for $184,000. Boom! That's what happened to my parents when they were selling their house. The real estate agent told them way low, and they said, "I'm not selling it for that." They priced it considerably higher, and they had people fighting over their house at the considerably higher price. The real estate agent was completely wrong. Yes.
One of mom's friends one day was saying that they were buying land out somewhere, I don't know, a bunch of acres, but it was going to be like a couple $1 million or something.
Yeah.
So they were saying that that's going to mess up the market because, like you said, if it's comparable, then it's going to, like if you said this same plot of land, the exact same plot of land over here, well, if you're looking at other plots of land that sold, then it should sell for $2 million
Right.
and be comparable, so that like screwed up the market, wouldn't it?
Right.
A little?
That something wonky was going on there.
Well, yeah, something definitely was there, but I'm saying like,
It
even
could.
if something wonky happened, it could still, and it shouldn't sell for that, it could still mess up the market, couldn't it?
It could, but when somebody decides they want to sell that land, like the mountain right over from mine and Chris's land that we're selling, somebody could say, "Well, they got $2 million for theirs," and I'd be like, "Well, I'd like to get $2 million for mine too, but
You won't sell?
I won't sell it for that."
Yeah.
So then I got to take what I can get, and if I'm willing to take it and they're willing to give it, then I have to, we get that agreement going again. So it's all based on what somebody's willing to give you at a particular point in time. And if they won't give you what you want, then you don't sell the house, right? Or if you can't get the house for what you want, then you don't buy the house. So when we say maybe 140, who knows? It could be more, it could be less, based on who wants it and the housing market at that particular time. Does that make sense? And that's what we're going to talk about in the class a lot is, coming to that agreement, that reciprocal agreement where, like the first little house that I ever bought for an investment property, the guy showed up, I bought it for $26,500. And the guy showed up for the closing. That's at a real estate agent's office. He showed up to sign the paperwork and get his check for the house, and I came to sign the paperwork and make the final agreement papers and get all the stuff taken care of. And he was sitting across the table from me, and he was scowling at me. And I was like, "Hey, I'm Scott Marcus." He's like, "Yeah." And I finally figured out he was mad at me. And he actually said something about being, and I said, "Well, why are you mad at me?" I said, "I'm buying your house." And he said, "You didn't give me enough for it." It's like, you're signing the papers. You agreed to it, didn't you? He said, "Yeah, but you didn't give me enough for it." I thought this was an agreement. If you don't feel good about this, we'll forget it. Because you should feel good about it. You agreed to sell it for that much, and I agreed, "Yeah, I'll take it, but you're not paying me enough for it." I was like, the only time I've ever had that happen, it was my first little rental house. And I was like, man, I didn't understand that. Is that weird? I thought it was. Because it should be a win-win. If you sell it, you should be glad to get rid of it. If I'm buying it, I should be glad to be buying it because we agreed on something. I think everything ought to be a win-win. If you ever feel bad about something, then it's not a win-win. So anyway, I thought that was weird. Okay, let's see.